Do you have enough? Are you ever going to have enough? In this episode of the Rodney O Podcast, we continue our journey into our survival guide to 2021 as we read through the Gospel of John. So join me in this episode to continue to share it with other people, because on this episode of the Rodney O Podcast, I'm asking you, do you have enough? Stay tuned. Welcome to the Rodney O Podcast. You know, when I talk about my musical skills or musical talent, whichever you call it, it started out very naturally. Started way back in sixth grade when I decided to sign up for drums. And I will admit, I took off pretty quickly. And I just rode on and drove off of this natural talent for a while, as far as it can carry me. And it carried me so far. But eventually what happened was those who practiced, those who worked on their craft, they surpassed me eventually. And, you know, I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying, and why I'm saying that is because in order for me to want more, to do better, to get more, I would have needed to work on my craft. And it continued to get better every day, but I did not. In fact, I wanted more because I wanted to learn how to play more instruments. And so, besides that, I went and learned some piano. I learned some bass guitar, some regular guitar. But I never truly kept working and creating my craft and doing more and more. What I ended up doing was just riding on the coattails of my natural talent, and it only carried me so far. And so eventually now at the stage that I'm at, I still play drums mostly. The other instruments I really don't play too much anymore. But basically I do have a skill that can last me, and I can do pretty darn good if I'm in a band or playing somewhere. But eventually what's going to happen is if you need somebody with just a little bit more skill, you're going to probably be able to find them. And it's true for everything, right? It's true that can happen for everything that we do. But the drive to want more did not match my actual actions to gain more. And that's kind of what we're talking about today on the podcast. And so thanks for tuning in. We're going to continue our series, and welcome to the Rodney O Podcast. Today on the Rodney O Podcast, we're going to continue the series titled Survival Guide to 2021, John's Instruction Manual. And so today I titled the topic as You Will Always Have Enough. And so I'll be teaching each week as we go through the Gospel of John, and that's not to be confused with the books of John, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. But today we're going to read through John chapter 6, verses 1 through 15. And so my hope is that those who are unfamiliar with the Bible will get a good introduction to it. And then I think John's a good start to that. And so those who are more proficient can get a kind of a refresher and a review. And hopefully if they like it, they'll pass it on to other people who may need to hear it. And so the reason I want to do this is because, 2021, there's been a crisis, right? And it continues to go. And it started back in 2020, but continues to this day. And so, we've had the whole COVID thing. We've kind of had things happening with racial tension and political fighting at the White House, and then fires last summer, and just other things that keep going on and on. And with all of this going on, I want to give kind of a bright side, kind of the good news. And there is good news, in fact, and we just have to do our part in it to bring it out and to share it with other people. And so right now, we're kind of at an interesting time, right? I mean, right now, it's kind of like with all the stimulus going on and the money being printed, it seems like we still don't have enough, right? It seems like no matter what happens or what they do or how much they spend, we don't have enough. And it kind of goes to, you kind of see them, how they continue to print more and more money and continue to have more money out there. Just kind of endless, right? If they need to distribute more, just print it. And so it's not always just that, right? About wanting more. Sometimes it's knowledge, advancing in a career, job, financial knowledge to gain financial freedom or gain more financials. I guess that does go back to money. Also, maybe there's not enough friends, people around you. Maybe you're wanting a relationship. And that can kind of change whether you're introvert or extrovert, but it's not always about money, right? It can be about knowledge, like I said, and maybe friends. And then, like in the story I mentioned, it could be talents. Maybe you want to do more and more. You see other people who have a talent, and you want that too. And you kind of ignore what you do have and what talents you have, and kind of want to go and piggyback off somebody else's. And so, what kind of feeds into this and kind of makes us want to do this more and more, with wanting more, is a lot of it has to do with society, with the greed, right? We kind of flaunt the money and wealth that we have. You kind of see it around that, the more you have, the better off you are. Maybe it seems like the happier you are. And we see it all over the place, especially social media, right? You kind of see people who have the best lives. You kind of see that spread with pictures. They have lots of friends. They have this great social life. Maybe it's envy. We kind of envy the athletes, actors. We want to be like them. We want to have talents. You want to be that actor, music star, right? With the crossover thing, with the two different talents that they have. And we get caught up into that. And so the truth is, we never realize that we always have enough because we don't believe our work combined with faith gives us enough. I'll say that again. We never realize that we always have enough because we don't believe our work combined with faith gives us enough. And so the question is, how do we know that we have enough? And I say that we know that we have enough because, first of all, the Creator wants us to use our gifts to make the world better, to bring the world back to good. And so we know we have enough because that is going to be our fuel from the Creator to be able to do that. And so we'll always have enough to make that happen, to be done. But you see, we also need to be patient and trust the process so we grow in our faith, which makes it easier the next time we need to get more, right? Because once you know that you can produce and do something, it's easier for us to take action and get things done rather than sit back and wish we can do it or doubt. Those that accomplish, one victory in their life, whether it be a game, sport, or goal, and you work for it, then you know that the next one victory that needs to come or the next goal that you have, you'll be able to work because you did it before. So you'll be able to continue to go on and continue to grow and improve. You said you did it once, let me do it again. They say, go back to money, they say the first million is always the hardest, right? But once you reach it and you know how, and you have that much, you can propel yourself to do more and more and to get more and more. And so it's just kind of this law of being able to have the experience and knowledge to do something that you can do it again and work towards it again. And that's how you grow on having enough. And so let's read from John 6, 1 through 15. And it says this: Sometime after this, Jesus crossed to the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, that is, the Sea of Tiberias. And a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the signs he had performed by healing the sick. Then Jesus went up on a mountainside and sat down with his disciples. The Jewish Passover festival was near. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Philip answered, "It would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite." Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. "Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far would it go among so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of 5 barley loaves and left over by those who had eaten. After the people saw the sign Jesus performed, they began to say, "Surely this is the prophet who was to come into the world." Jesus, knowing that they intended to come and make him king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself. And so when you read this, you kind of see a story of how Jesus kind of asked a question. Where should we go buy the food to feed all these people? See, it was customary that if people kind of stayed with you, if they were your company, and it was getting towards dinner hours, that you fed them. You didn't send them home hungry. They didn't have cars and fast food back then. So you would provide food for them. And so they were saying, like, Jesus, it's getting late. So shouldn't we send them home so they can go and get food? And Jesus said, no, let's feed them. And so there was this one guy, one boy with a sack lunch, right? His parents probably prepared a lunch for him. And he speaks up, innocence of a child, all these people. I got some food, how are you going to share it? Cut it in small pieces. But what happens is a lesson that Jesus teaches them, not besides being the Son of God and being able to do miracles, but that use what you have, bring what you have to the table, and that will be enough. Because the more and more you work on it, the more and more you give of your talents and your gifts, the more you will receive, the more you will get. And you won't even realize it because it just keeps multiplying and multiplying. And that's what happens here. So this means that we have no limits. We have to truly believe that we can do whatever we set our minds to it. We have no limits. Think about that. The last time you accomplished something you didn't think you could do, but you did it anyway. What did that do to your confidence? What did that do to your future? You continue to go on and it makes you want to do more and more. That's how you grow on it. You see, if we want to grow and improve, we need to have faith. We need to know that we need to believe that we can do that. We have to believe that we can move forward because the only thing that's stopping you is unbelief. That will stop you in your tracks. But if you have the faith, especially the faith in the one that gives you your gifts and abilities, you'll be able to grow and improve and nobody can stop you. You see, if we don't care about that, if we don't care and don't take it seriously, we stay stagnant and we'll never have the joy that comes from something bigger than this world. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to take the first step. You can't get going without taking the first leap of faith. Take the first step, whatever that goal is you want, whatever you want to do, take the first step out in faith. Get going, right? And then next, keep going. Don't let a setback stop you. And then lastly, enjoy the process. You're seeing the growth and progress right before your eyes. So continue to move forward, to progress, and keep doing what you're doing because you're going to grow. And you will always have enough because you will use what you got. And if you use what you got, if you use what you have, if you use your gifts, you're going to get more and you're going to continue to grow. Trust me on that. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. Well, please feel free to dialogue with me. My YouTube channel, Rodney O, shows that I am living what I speak. Please be sure to subscribe to that channel. The link is in the podcast description, or you can simply go to YouTube and search Rodney O. Remember this. I want to inspire, encourage, and motivate all of you guys if you navigate this journey that we call life. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next one.